Hello and welcome to NasCanucks, your auto racing podcast right here live on the YouTubes. Featuring myself, Ben, and my co-host, Doug. And we are talking Kansas action. It's a deceptive track. And apparently Doug has some news of some sort.
Breaking news from like a couple hours ago.
Breaking news even. Perfect. All right. So 2 races on tap. And we're kind of settling in. We're getting right down to crunch time here. And in the Xfinity Series, I don't know, can that 54 do any wrong? More on that. Another full field Xfinity racing, where they're both series round of 8 at this point to get down to the final 4 at Phoenix. I'm trying to think. A lot of cautions.
But as we spoke off on air, for the first time in like a number of years, we did not have a barbecue caution.
All weekend,
yeah. Like there's usually a good 2. There's usually just outside of turn 1. Whoever had that space for a barbecue every year lit the whole sucker up, and we had like smoke all across the track.
Yeah.
Fire caution.
Yep. I'm trying to remember anything from the race other than apparently like, hey, Charles 75N. Ty Gibbs continuing to just tear it up in the 54.
To quote AJ Allmendinger, the Oprah car. Because once you get in there, it's you get a win, you get a win, you get a win, you get a win.
Yeah, what'd they say?
See that they're like they are down, like that's his 4th win. They're right down that, like they go from like door, like the name bar right down to the back quarter panel.
Now, did Ty win the race?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because I was trying to think who won the race. And yeah, and the interesting thing about that was they said I think 6 drivers have won 10 races in that car this year.
Yeah, and he's the first to do it like 4 times. He's got 4 wins. The youngest driver to get 4 wins.
Now, he might have the most starts in that car also this year at that point. But you know who wasn't on the win list in that car? Ty Dillon.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, why aren't you calling me? They're like, 6-pack of drivers have won in the car. Have you got a top 10?
No. Truex finished 2nd at Atlanta in that car. I believe it was Atlanta. But yeah, well, as I heard all so far the last couple of days on the call-in shows,
sure,
it's Grandpa gives him the best equipment. Because that's just what he does. Yep. Well,
yeah, he's not going to give it to any of his drivers that are I don't know, in the playoffs.
Yeah, no. And it's
you just have hands down the best crew chief in that series prepping.
Yeah.
Like, I have to say that because you got to prep a different car. No practice, different drivers like different things. You're just throwing darts at a dartboard.
Well, but again, it's there's a cup owner with that car, so he gets all the best stuff. Okay, Junior Motorsports, check out who owns those cars. Yes, it's Junior Motorsports. Whose name is in the owner's box? Rick Hendrick. He could be giving some good stuff too.
Look who builds the motors. Speaking of which, we'll get into that. So there was a few wrecks. The 9 cars seemed to avoid an awful lot of them, which really pissed me off.
Except for the last one.
Yeah, well, then this was the thing, because he had damage at the start, and I'm like, no, you can't be all damaged and still competitive. That's really pissing me off. And then there was a close call. I'm like, really? You couldn't take him out? And then the next caution, they did. And I went, perfect.
Yep.
Now,
and his own teammate.
Now, if you noticed during his interview, which we were forced to watch because they did the old picture-in-picture, so I couldn't fast forward through it. Cameras here, reporters here, he's looking over there the majority of the interview. What I did notice was definitely the lack of attitude I did buy into some of his humbleness. Why? Because I think he took a look in the mirror and went, "No Cup owner wants me."
Yeah.
So I think he's realized I'm in a good situation where I am, and so I was somewhat impressed by that.
And plus, the driver, he keeps saying, you were just upset because I backed into you just because your career has gone nowhere and you're not doing anything. Who's in the Final Four right now? Who's got a whole bunch of points up on you in the Final Four?
And he really wanted to call out the car who took him out in the race, but it's not a good idea to talk about your young teammate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yep, the 8 took out the 9. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. And now you got Harrison Burton, he's now also in a must win. But going to a track where his father had some good runs, so hopefully that family stuff will wear off.
We'll see. Yes. Similar situation. Both series very parallel the last couple of weeks. Similar races, similar points implications, where at certain points, no pun intended, during the race, all of a sudden you're seeing a lot of drivers like 50 plus points out. You're like, well, they're done. But then they rally back, or that one guy who's on the cusp has issues, which we saw a lot. You really don't want to be that driver above the cutoff line, because it seemed like all of a sudden something would happen and you're 2 laps back.
Yeah.
So, Tyler Gibbs wins again, which gives us a preview for Sunday, which we figured weather was going to become a factor in some way, shape, or form, which sprinkles.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad. 13 laps in. But by 13 laps in, we had already seen a trend starting in the day where you do not want to go for a Darlington stripe. Like, I don't understand how these cars are so much more fragile than cars running at Darlington. But I'm telling you, Doug, right now, next year, I'm bringing the Darlington car to Kansas.
Yeah.
Because the weak link being all your aero-sensitive right rear quarter panel, you just touch the wall, you're carving down tires. It really attacked the Penske cars and the Gibbs cars mainly throughout the day.
Yeah.
But even the race-winning car, we saw all 4 corners were pretty, like, it looked more like a Martinsville car.
But then again, that race winner he's used to dirt, and he can do that and dirt, and he's still going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly. News and notes in the race, we were discussing it off air. Yeah, we didn't mention it on air yet. Parker Kligerman making a start for our Canadian brethren, the Gaunt Brothers.
Which
Racing.
I tried to get that hoodie for $1, but it wouldn't. I couldn't get to the website. It must have crashed or something.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to see a sponsor step up with the Gaunt Brothers, first of all, so they can run more than 5-6 races a year.
Well,
put Parker Kligerman in a damn car, somebody.
Yeah. He's got to be hands down probably one of the best drivers, because he can just hop in a car.
Yeah. And the funny part, do you remember? Because he was one of those guys that fizzled out. Like, I'm surprised he's still, like, really. He became almost like a Mike Wallace type, where I didn't realize Mike Wallace was the driver for a number of years till he all of a sudden was in a Busch, start. And I'm like, wait, you drive? I thought you were just the reporter brother of Kenny and Rusty. Mm-hmm. And Parker, he's been reporting for years at this point. Like, starting out with trucks.
2-3 years. Yeah. He didn't do too bad in his career, but then he dropped off quick.
Right. But do you remember who gave him the first push, the development that brought him up into Cup? I don't think he actually made any Cup starts, but up through Xfinity anyways. He was the next guy up through the Canon after Ryan Newman through the Penske organization.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But
because I remember talking to a guy at Oswego about Parker Kligerman, I've got to say, geez, like 6-7 years ago.
Right.
And he was talking about how, he was talking about how he was like just this up and coming guy then. And
even then, that was the peak, basically. At that time.
and his peak was just coming in. Like he was just coming in. I'm gonna say he's almost like he's following in the AJ Allmendinger footsteps, where he kind of left. It's not really left, still in the sport reporting, but he's kind of making that way back. Like whenever he's in a car,
or
you're
truck.
talking about him.
Like how many times like we watch a truck race? He's in the Joe Blow Chevy, sponsored by Bubbaloo's Lemonade, and he's running 15th, and you're like, how you haven't put new tires on the truck the whole race, you know?
Well, and really, you know, and good on him as well too for making that comeback after he got messed up by Junior. It's that one caution where Junior's like asking question after Junior's just having fun talking, asking him questions. What about this QR code for the free hoodie? And all of a sudden you hear it, you just like cut it on the radio, just like top. His spotter telling him to go to the top
because of the choose rule.
Yeah, and you got Kyle Busch is behind him, just like what are you like? I know I've been there in traffic with that guy in front of you. It's like, what the hell are you doing? And Parker went low instead of going to the top. Yeah. So that's
and part like Junior said, he was having fun. And let's be honest, we know Junior pull like me. We pull for the independents, and he said during the race, like, I gotta say, this is the best run ever by Gaunt Brothers Racing, hands down. You know, and he's talking him up, and then Parker got a little loose. And he's like, well, maybe we should shut up for a minute. And so good run by Parker Kligerman for Canadian guys that are Gaunt Brothers. Man, the one brother's been down in North Carolina 25 years at this point, maybe 30.
Actually, I did hear an interview with them, I want to say Sunday morning.
Because
one of the two
one brother raced up here, and his brother was an engine builder in North Carolina. I can't remember like who he came up with. Like he learned from. He might have even worked at Hendrick.
Yeah,
or for a while. And then he got into doing his own motors, and then when Toyota came into the sport, they wanted him to head up TRD, essentially their motor department.
Well, according to them, there's some next gen Daytona cars kind of starting to get prepped. No driver yet because they like to wait 6 weeks before Daytona to start actually doing anything.
You're giving too much credit. 3 weeks.
Yeah. It must have been Sunday night or I don't know, one of the days because he was on with Claire B. Lang and talking, and she's like, once it comes like Thanksgiving, I'm like, Thanksgiving was a couple weeks ago, but no, she's talking American Thanksgiving, where they start talking about it. He's like, American Thanksgiving, we wait till like January and then we talk about what we're gonna do.
Well, because they wait and see who's left, right? And you pick them up on the Jeep.
I'm thinking they could be getting Parker Kligerman sometime soon.
They could get Ryan Newman if they wanted to for the 500.
That as well too, yes. So then, kind of almost the same thing with the Xfinity race where we had Sam Mayer taking out Gregson and Burton. Had that in the Cup as well too, with Austin Dillon getting a little loose, getting into the back of Blaney, and then that wall taking him out. So so that then kind of the conversation came back in about Cup drivers, because there was another person that talked about Ty Dillon should be suspended and parked for the rest of the year for taking out a playoff contender. Well, I'm not sure that there was just a legal wig. Like it looked like he hardly even touched him.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that's the thing in NASCAR. They race together. It's
And I tell you, like your boy, he had Truex had some problems at the start. He was one of those guys, touched the wall, had some issues, and like saying, and those drivers right at that cutoff line until Blaney had a problem right at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Your guy was sitting 50 plus points out.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but he's got to be running 32nd. And I'm like, no, he's running 11th. I'm like, damn. Because the problem was the other guys were running. And although we had a lot of non-playoff drivers.
Actually at the top.
In all the stages throughout.
Yep.
And it wasn't like strategy where a bunch of guys, well, I'm going to pit with 3 laps to go to do the old flip-de-doo during the stage break. No.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot. Like, again, we're seeing the 24 and the 8.
Yeah. And like we did talk off air, I did hear also that the Kevin Harvick should be parked for the rest of the year for going 3 wide on that last restart to put Chase Elliott in the middle and have him go backwards. He should not have done that. That's him just getting back at Chase. No, that's him
getting back. Chase would have been earlier in the race when he came up behind Chase and could have went like he did on the Roval.
Like a guy also called in and said, Chase should have known that, and Chase should have started behind Larson because he knew that Harvick was just going to try and wreck him off that restart. That's why he went 3 wide.
Sure.
Shut up.
What's up, Keith?
So yeah. But
so it came down to similar to the Xfinity Series where AJ Allmendinger seems to be picking up an awful lot of wins, in the playoffs. Playing spoiler for those other guys hoping to win their way in. Kyle Larson with another win, which is for the first time they said since 1987, a driver has won 3 races in a row twice in one season.
Yes.
Dale Earnhardt being the last guy.
Yeah.
And
I
where
think
did he end up in the points that year, Doug? Where did he end up in the points?
I'm not sure. Yeah. But yeah, and the other thing with that as well too is finishing second was Chase in over his head trying to chase down Larson because he couldn't do it. He couldn't handle that car.
He's like, oh yeah, I need that win. I want that win. And everyone's going, it's a good point stay, Chase. Oh, I'm going to get that win. And they're like, no, you're not.
I was begging for that wall just to.
Oh, I know. I was hoping he would just, push it a little too hard and just eat the wall. Speaking of which, when Blaney ate the wall, old school, he kept her turned into the wall and let the field go by. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
Just another sign he's old school.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
The other thing I found interesting.
Chase needs to come to the realization he ain't the top dog at that team. He's the third best driver right now at Hendrick Motorsports.
Okay, speaking of that, I don't know. Did you catch Kyle's interview afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing he talked about was he hated it for William Byron because he was having such a good day, then having issues.
Yep.
That was it. He didn't talk about the guy that finished second at all.
Nope.
He said, he was kind of chasing me down. Chase was kind of getting to me, but I was able to pull away when he couldn't handle the car. That was it. So is there trouble up on Papa Joe Hendrick Drive? That there's a little bit of tension there?
I think it's more I'm running against him for a championship. I'm not running against the 24 for a championship.
I'm just because I've been kind of seeing that from Kyle too, and he's when talking, he kind of gets a little bit of a laugh, almost like I'm getting him. So I'm wondering, is there a little bit of jealousy coming from that guy in the 9 that I'm the guy. I'm the guy. I was winning all those races last year. Why am I not winning this year? Yeah. It comes down to talent. We hate that he's there because he's a damn good driver.
Why are they giving Larson all the best equipment in Hendrick? They should be giving it to Chase. Actually, they already are giving it to Chase, and Larson's still beating his ass.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yes, they are.
Yep. All right. So that wraps up Kansas. And then news and notes during.
Well, we're going into Martinsville.
Yeah,
that's tight. That's tight.
Like I say, your boy got lucky at the end of the race because I was thinking to myself, are you still locking him into the Final Four?
Because Kyle Busch is 1 point up on who here? So is he
Blaney? I would imagine
1 point up on Blaney, 3 points up on Truex, and 6 up on Brad Keselowski.
Right.
And then Joey needs to lap the field about 8 times, and he might be able to catch up.
I like to drive fast, but not fast enough, Joey. Yeah, not fast enough.
Told you.
Yeah, last week, we blew the motor 2 weeks ago, and this past weekend, he's like, "I'm not driving fast." No, you're not, Joey. No, you're not.
I've already told you it's not an even year. It's not your year.
I don't know though. Like, I don't know if your boy's going to be able to point his way in, or he's going to have to win it.
It's gonna be tough because all 4 of those guys are right in the pack together.
Yeah, and that's
they're
the
always
funny
driving
thing,
together.
because I think was it Junior and Jeff both as driver. They kind of laughed at it because everyone's doing that. Well, Martinsville's a must win. They're like, yeah, but everybody's a winner at Martinsville. Like all of these guys that are involved in the conversation have all proven themselves.
One guy has won 2 of the last 3 at Martinsville.
True. However,
Martinsville, it's Martinsville for a reason. Martin.
I would not be surprised if Larson goes 4 in a row this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
That guy, he's like, whatever, throw it at me. I don't care. I'll race it. Talladega, sure. Whatever. He doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
At this point. So, trucks are back after basically taking the month of October off because they haven't been on the track since Talladega.
Not at all. And they've had absolutely no news out of the truck garage. There's been no one talking about anything.
Just like Bubbaloo's sponsoring Bubba Smith, It's like, all right, whatever. Similar Xfinity stuff. Hey, we got these people on board.
Well, no, there is. I will get to Xfinity, but Cup news is just a minor one. That Phil Surgeon will be back with, will continue to be with Ross Chastain as crew chief over at Trackhouse. So he's just flowing over there, leaving McCall. Sorry?
I assume Trackhouse is going to keep their 99 car, right? Like number. And then they have the choice of keeping the 42 or the 1.
I think they're keeping the 42 from what I heard.
I was thinking about that. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of a nod to Chip, but the 1, that's a low number, and low numbers are beyond gold.
Yeah. Or maybe they are keeping the 1 too. I'm not sure.
Car out there, Yeah. But the 1?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. No, maybe they are keeping the 1. I've seen it, but I can't remember now. But anyway, Phil Surgeon is going over, staying with them, which then leaves McCall free to go to the 6.
Right.
Remember that. I said that here a little while ago. Other news, big news breaking about a couple hours ago for the Xfinity.
Okay.
You heard it here last year. It didn't happen this year. What I said was going to happen last year. April 8th, 2022, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be driving in Martinsville in the Xfinity race. So he will be doing that Xfinity race at Martinsville with a Unilever company sponsorship. I'm hearing. Well, he started talking about how Hellman's is doing some recycled food thing. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
sure.
So there's that.
Here.
Other news is Akinori Ogata, Japanese driver, making his second start of the year.
Wouldn't have guessed.
Making his second Xfinity start of the year, first for BJ McLeod in their car. Right. And Preston Pardis, a 24-year-old, I'm going to say rally racer because this is his first time on an oval, making his oval debut for DGM Racing.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Some nice stuff. I dig it. What else? Next gen testing today at Bowman Gray with Clint Boyer and Dale Jr. behind the wheel.
They were shaking the car down.
They were. Junior had never been to that facility, always wanted to go there, never been. Seemed like this is a good reason to go as any. And like I said to Doug off air, they like to keep these things even. They'll have a Ford guy, a Chevy guy, and a Toyota guy there quite often to keep things even. Well, let's have a Fox guy and an NBC guy. So they're the people, I was in the car last year. Yeah, well, we're talking about Talladega, and you ran it at Bowman Gray. Does not transfer at all.
Not at all.
So.
And then
For those
to
who don't
test
know what Bowman Gray Stadium is, Bowman Gray is basically a track and field track.
Yeah, because there's the football field in the middle.
There's a football field. Yeah, it's like a high school stadium, basically. They
And that
put one on the track.
There's that building right outside, was it turn 1 and 2?
Yeah, the whole building, like the pit area is outside the facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to drive around. It looks like you're driving around behind a school to go out on the track.
Yeah, it looks like a school.
Yeah.
So they had those two guys shaking the car down. I think they thought it was okay. For the most part, they had everyone sitting outside the track, not letting anyone in. Then they did kind of release some.
At what, 3:00 today?
Yeah, then some videos started to leak out. And then because he just loves doing tire tests, Tony Stewart was also out in the car doing the tire test. So the other guys were doing about 20 laps, and Tony Stewart got most of the time in the car.
Wonder. Oh no, they don't do any kind of GT racing, because I was going to say the tires and rims they're very similar to what you would run in a Grand Am car.
They had a softer compound from what Tony Stewart says. I've seen some quotes from him. He liked the tire. He thought Goodyear did a great job with the tire that they're going to have. So it should be something similar going out to LA for the Coliseum race.
When he was doing the interview, was he under the influence of something?
No idea. They asked him his thoughts on the old car to the next gen car. And he's like, well, I haven't been in a car in 5 years. So.
Yeah, he basically just barely touched the current generation car.
Yeah, so he goes, I'm just happy to be here.
Which is really, it's just a fancy body on a COT anyways.
Yeah. So Tony was in a good mood after doing testing.
You know, spent a lot of time with his girlfriend the last year and a half.
Get me in that car.
Yep. Yeah, he's having fun. He's doing what he's doing. He's having fun, which is nice to see. You know, similar like Jimmy Johnson, second lease on life. You know what? I'm going IndyCar racing. I really don't know how many houses he had to buy his wife and kids for that to pull that off. Yeah. You're retiring. You're going to spend time with us. No, I'm going to go IndyCar racing. Really? Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Any other news and notes? Not really.
No, it's been the 20 car. 20 car?
What series?
Yes. In the Cup Series.
Okay.
Adam Stevens will be suspended again this week for 2 loose lug nuts.
I had a rant about that. At what point are we just going to not stop doing the stupid to the back of the grid? To the back of the grid. Like, if you consistently fail inspection, you should be getting points penalties.
Yeah. Because and that's been talked about a lot.
Like, if you one time, we'll let it go. But if you fail inspection twice, you should be getting a points penalty.
Because how many times have you seen it? And I'm going to say Truex is like, every time Truex is like, you're to the back, it's like, okay, he's got a shot at winning.
Yeah, because they're trying something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
So.
And plus,
it's been talked about.
Already be out of the playoffs at this point anyways, because he'd have massive points penalties because he fails every week multiple times. The other Hendrick cars don't. And that's the other thing, too. When Martin does, usually 2, 3, or all 4 Gibbs cars will all have the same issue because they all tried the same new part or something like that. Nope. It's because Hendrick's giving Chase the best equipment, the cheated up stuff.
Yeah.
And he's still losing. Sorry. Tear. Yeah.
We're going to get those red helicopters again. You know it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're going to get banned. All right. So on that note, I got nothing else.
No, a little short.
We're literally trying to stretch it for another 11 seconds so we actually hit the half-hour mark.
Only other thing.
There you go. Yeah, I went old school this week. You didn't even notice.
Oh, I didn't know. Old triple, yeah. I kind of went old school as well, too.
Yep. Well, I was going through a container of clothing looking for something for a Halloween costume. And all of a sudden, I found a bunch of old race shirts. And I went, whoa, where'd these come from? I forgot I own this because I think this went in the bin 15 years ago or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I may pull out the rare Dario Franchitti Nationwide shirt.
No.
I might. Never been worn.
Oh. Did you buy one? Because that was like...
Yeah, it was
we
one
would
of
have been done.
5 shirts for $10 deals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it's a shirt. It's not even Target. It's a different sponsor. So it would be like a one race sponsor.
Yeah.
And you only had, 5, 6 starts in the Xfinity series? So, yeah, I don't even remember what it was. Yellow. Had yellow. I remember that. So, if we want to go way back, there's a shirt my dad wore at Daytona in the 70s in the bin.
Oh.
Yeah. Old school. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And speaking of old school, to give a little plug for my other show.
Sure.
If you liked 80s wrestling, watch the Down and Back on Friday.
Oh, didn't you say that last week?
Yeah, I'm doing the interview this week.
Oh, okay.
But just be quiet because some of the
Don't
people...
tell Terry because he just came in.
Yeah, well, no, actually, I've already told him, but it's just the people that I'm recording with tomorrow night don't know.
So if you're watching people that are recording with Doug tomorrow night, you don't know.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. So on that note, he's Doug. I'm Ben. This has been NasCanucks, your auto racing podcast with a Canadian spin.
Are you ready this week?
What?
You ready this week? Are you ready this week?
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus.